Back, we're breaking in the new Cali office, and we're talking Bitcoin. My name's Royce Jacob, and welcome to Waves Capital. Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners have a hot summer ahead of them. They're looking a bit iffy in the short term, but I really do think that things are going to start heating up again in the month ahead, and I want to explain why. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, Riot Platforms, and Mara, the big three, in my opinion, on the charts. I'll talk short-term, medium-term, and even going into longer-term technicals as we progress into the fall-winter months. Let you guys know what I'm thinking on the charts. And, that's pretty much it. Well, simple and sweet to kick off the summer season. Okay? So, we're going to kick it off by taking a look at Bitcoin. I want to talk to you about a few different scenarios I see playing out in the short term because things... I wish I could say things were looking good, but they're not. They're actually looking pretty bad. And I want to explain why, where I think we fall to in the short term, where we bounce, and where we resume the overall uptrend. After Bitcoin, I do want to take a look at this article that I kicked off the video with. Very, very appealing headline. Bitcoin miners at Donald Trump's closed-door event say he thinks Bitcoin can help win the AI arms race. That's a strong statement. There's a lot of buzzwords in there. And I really want to talk about this because this is probably, in my opinion, this is by far the most interesting macro news in regard to Bitcoin miners that I've stumbled across in quite a long time, because the longer term ramifications of this, especially in the case that Trump, I'm not making any assumptions. In the case that Trump does become president, this could be very, very big news for Bitcoin miners. So I definitely want to touch on this. And then after this, we will, of course, parlay into the Bitcoin miners, Riot and Mara, talk about why, to no surprise of any of you, I'm sure, if you've been tuned into Waves Capital or followed the channel in the past, why I favor Riot Platforms over Mara at the moment. And, I'll even talk about some of my call options that I have on Riot right now as well. I also want to talk to you about one of the best put positions that I have on deck right now too, kind of aside the point, but it's just so good that I want to shout it out. Okay, if you do want to know how I'm trading my personal portfolio on a day-to-day basis, if you want my daily newsletters, my daily trade alert newsletters, if you want to know exactly what I scrolled past really fast just now, because I want to keep that exclusive to members of the portfolio, of course, okay, got to respect them. Again, if you want these newsletters in your email inbox every day, along with a complete breakdown of my personal portfolio, it's the first link in the description of this video. Complete portfolio, daily trade alerts. You choose your pricing plan, completely up to you. Try it free for 7 days. If you don't like it, you can just peace out. But that's pretty rare if I'm being completely honest. And, because I'm so excited about Bitcoin, Bitcoin miners, growth stocks in general, I think it's going to be a pretty exciting month for Waves Capital. So once again, first link in the description of the video if you want to join the winning team. If not, no worries. I appreciate you watching this video right now. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, as many of you know, has not performed the best over the past couple of days. Okay, let's get a price range on. In the past 3 days, from the high to the low, we're down over 7%, falling even harder today. Okay, with this descent, with this drop, we have technically fallen below these two moving averages. These are very, very significant macro moving averages, okay? Here, you can see that these are the 50 and 100-day moving averages. This dark blue line you can see here where my cursor is hovering is the 200-day moving average. And as of today, we have broken below, and it looks to me like we're probably going to close a daily candle below the 100-day moving average, okay? That's not good, you guys. A lot of traders look at these moving averages, and if Bitcoin, being an asset that's so highly subjective to technicals, closes a 1D candle below this moving average, then I see more downside in sight. On top of that, Bitcoin, a couple of days ago, did break below this line of medium-term resistance, this green line you can see right here that's going across the screen. That's also not good. What's even worse is the fact that we've already come up and successfully retested this line of broken support as new resistance. Okay, so prior support typically becomes new resistance. Previous resistance becomes new support. That's TA 101. We've said it many times here on the channel before. So that's not good either. From here, I do think we fall further. It would be, again, I always hope Bitcoin climbs. This is Bitcoin. Who knows what's going to happen? We could see new all-time highs next week for all I know. But as far as the technicals are concerned, as far as the charts are concerned, the bears are definitely in control as of this moment in time. Okay, as of June 14th. I do think, especially in the case that we break below this line of longer term resistance, okay, this purple line right here, which I feel is kind of really the last barrier or the last level of support, the last floor standing beneath Bitcoin prior to another trapdoor. If we do break below this purple line right here, which, I mean, it's not too much further, I would say if we break back, if we fall back below 65,000 again from here after kind of briefly falling below there earlier today, I do think that it's extremely likely that we fall to the lower end of support on kind of this medium-term sideways range. I would say longer-term sideways range, actually, that we've been in since March, which would be just above 60K, around 60,600. I do think we fall below there. I do think we bounce a little there. But ultimately, you guys, if I'm being completely honest, I also wouldn't be surprised if we were to fall to test the previous high of the prior high of the macro uptrend. Okay, that would take us to about $53,000. This has yet to be retested. This was a pretty significant little ceiling prior to the breakout we saw in late February. And as I just alluded to, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we were to fall to this level, which would be about 20% from current levels where we're sitting at 66K. Okay, those are both pretty bearish scenarios, but you guys, trading, I love Bitcoin. You can tell, by the way. This is the new canvas I just designed for the Cali office, for the Cali Waves Cave. And I have it on Amazon if any of you want to pick it up. So I'll throw that link in the description just in case you guys want to buy it. But what I was initially saying, you guys know, I like Bitcoin. I pretty much built this channel on the bones of Bitcoin. Okay, I've expanded into many things beyond Bitcoin and actually don't. Most of the trading I do on a day-to-day basis, again, if you want to know what that is, first link in the description. Most of the trading I do on a day-to-day basis is swing trading options contracts. A lot of it doesn't even have to do with Bitcoin, okay? I do swing trade options on Riot, I'll say that. I have a large positions in Riot and Bitcoin and Render and in the crypto markets overall. But when it comes to Bitcoin and Riot, not so much Riot, I'll say that. Okay, so kind of all over the place right now. Bitcoin doesn't look good, okay? But I want to get into why Bitcoin miners do look good, all right? Bitcoin, if we do fall further, I do think we fall to about $53,000. But Bitcoin miners, Riot specifically, Mar not so much, but Riot specifically, don't actually look bad on the charts. And I want to see if I can justify or do my best to justify and rationalize the $16 to $17 price target that I have for the month of July for Riot. But we'll do that after we read over this article. Okay, so Bitcoin miners at Donald Trump's closed door event say he thinks Bitcoin can help win AI arms race. Key points. Donald Trump, DJT, says he wants all future Bitcoin to be minted in the U.S. The proclamation comes after the former president convened a working group of the country's top Bitcoin miners on Tuesday in Mar-a-Lago. The coalition included representatives from Riot Platforms, Marathon Digital Holdings, TeraWulf, CleanSpark, Core Scientific, Archon Energy, Kala Energy, and Exacore. This past Tuesday night in Palm Beach, Florida, about a dozen Bitcoin mining executives and experts sat down with former President Donald Trump for an hour and a half in a small tea room at Mar-a-Lago Club. As a steady drizzle fell outside, they sipped from Trump-branded water bottles and tried to sell him on the world's largest cryptocurrency by market cap. Really setting the stage here, right? Really painting us a picture. The meeting marked the first time the former president and presumptive Republican presidential nominee, recently convicted of 34 felonies in New York, had taken a meeting with the technologists securing the $1.3 trillion Bitcoin network. The intimate gathering brought together a coalition of some of the biggest private and public American miners in the business, including representatives from Riot, Mara, TeraWulf, CleanSpark, Core Scientific, Arc. I just read all those. Don't need to go over those again. Primarily, the top two are what I'm concerned about, and that's Riot and Mara. CNBC spoke to half the miners who attended the closed-door session on Tuesday, including the CEO of Riot, Jason Les, told CNBC that one of the group's top talking points was the fact that the U.S. is the number one in a lot of things, and it should be the number one at Bitcoin, especially as the world's top coin touches new all-time highs new all-time price highs this year. It's kind of a weird way to phrase that. Not really, but new all-time highs this year. Bitcoin is up 160% to around 67,000 since June of 2023. Okay, I don't know. They framed that last little bit of that paragraph pretty weird. But regardless, what is cool here is obviously the fact that all of these CEOs are meeting with former president. And, if I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't be surprised also if we saw Trump reclaim office. I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. If you want to patronize me for not being a patriot, for not voting, go ahead. I don't really care about politics, if I'm being completely honest. I care about money. I care about the markets. And although, whoever's sitting in the office does tangentially have an impact on how the economy runs, these are the markets, and there's always ways to make money regardless of who's sitting in office. The markets are the markets. I'm a capitalist at the end of the day, and I don't really care who wins. But once again, just to sum this up, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump does take back office. Again, don't want to say if that's right or wrong. Don't really have an opinion, to be completely honest. But if he does, and if he did, I should say, if these Bitcoin mining executives and experts did really make a difference in his opinion on Bitcoin miners, then that could be, as far as definitely the longer term is concerned, very advantageous as far as like regulation and the regulatory hoops miners may have to jump through, or the benefits and subsidies they receive from the government could be very good, could be very advantageous for Bitcoin mining companies. And of course, their stocks are going to reflect that goodness. Okay, so when it comes to Riot, let's just talk some short-term price action first, because what we've seen over the past couple of days is extremely bullish from a short to medium-term perspective. Okay, so first things first, Riot has broken above this line of medium-term resistance that has been in place since late April. Okay, boom, touch point, absolute resistance. Broke above that, came back down, has already successfully retested this line of broken resistance, as new support, as similar to the price targets I have in place for Bitcoin that we discussed earlier. That's good, okay? It's good that we checked off that box. It's good that we got this pullback to retesting broken resistance as new support out of the way, okay? That's good. On top of that, Riot is also, from a 4-hour candle perspective, 4-hour RSI, where my cursor is hovering right here, has maintained a level above the exponential moving average on 4-hour RSI, okay? These are all good from a short to medium-term perspective. 4-hour candles, as many of you know, is my go-to candle or go-to time frame when it comes to that short to medium-term time frame. Daily candles are looking pretty decent as well. Same here. You can see RSI has not yet fallen below the EMA, the exponential moving average. Stochastic RSI looking pretty indifferent. But once again, what is important is the fact that we have broken above this line of medium-term supports, and Riot has pretty much underperformed the entire mining sector over the past couple of months, over the past year, you could say even. And I do think that this is the time that Riot finally regains favor amongst investors and, plays a game of catch up. I'm not saying that Mara won't perform as well, CleanSpark, whatever your Bitfarms. There's also a lot of news going on about Riot and Bitfarms. You can go Google that if you want. I'm not going to cover it here. Ultimately, though, I do think that's good for Riot. I'll just throw that in here now. But Riot and Mara, I do think, if Riot performs well, it's likely to me that Mara probably performs well as well. But Riot right now looks special. I've said for the past week or two now that it just looks like something special is coming for Riot. And, we got that with this breakout. And over the past week, it has been outperforming the likes of other Bitcoin miners, and I really like to see that. So I do still believe Riot has something special in store for it. I do think that Riot can, over the next month or two, I'll just say by the end of July, come up to once again test this line of long-term resistance that's been in place since July of 2023. So almost a year. I mean, that would be very, very satisfying if we ended up testing this line of resistance in mid-July, like where this line of resistance initially started a year ago. So, not saying it's going to happen, but given everything that's happening, although I'm bearish on Bitcoin, it is nice to see the Bitcoin miners, even just yesterday, Bitcoin fell, but Riot was up. They are breaking, and we've known this for a long time. If you've been trading Bitcoin miners for long enough, you would know that they don't, Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners don't track each other one-to-one. The status of the overall markets, growth stocks, just high beta stocks, small cap stocks, it's a combination of the performance of growth stocks and Bitcoin. Okay. And sometimes they can just, if you get some good news, if you get some interesting stuff like this, then Bitcoin miners can just outperform everything else, regardless of what Bitcoin or growth stocks are doing. So there's always minutia to evaluating the performance of miners. And there are many micro factors involved when, once again, evaluating that performance. But overall, I do like to see Riot and Mara, and specifically Riot, Bitcoin miners, somewhat in general, breaking that direct correlation with Bitcoin and kind of veering off. And it tells me that, especially after seeing Bitcoin perform and Bitcoin miners underperform, that we are seeing a cyclical shift to Bitcoin miners hopefully beginning to outperform Bitcoin. And even if Bitcoin lags, Bitcoin miners, I'm not going to say Bitcoin miners are going to rip if Bitcoin falls another 5, 10, 15%. But I do think that they can hold steady, maybe fall, 2, 3, 5%, go sideways. And then once Bitcoin picks up again, if we test one of these levels, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we fall to, as I said earlier, 53K, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see this level act as a floor for Bitcoin, which it has since March of this year. Okay, this is a pretty strong floor on this range. We're virtually trading in a sideways range. So I wouldn't be surprised if we held around that $61,000 region and then made our way back up to the $70,000 region prior to breaking out to those new all-time highs, which I think are like 80K plus. We'll cross that bridge when we come to more videos on along those lines later on. But for now, Riot is looking good. I do think that ultimately Riot, by the month of August, reclaimed $16 to $17, and just know my money is on that. Okay, so Riot Platforms, I'll just be straight. I do have Riot calls, and I want to talk about this BYRN put position that I actually have on deck right now. You know what? I don't really want to. I'll just pause it right here, let you guys read this. And BYRN actually has like the most satisfying head and shoulders pattern. I'm just going to veer off real quick because if this plays out, this is going to be so satisfying, you guys. This is a massive head and shoulders pattern that is in play right now. I'll just be straight up. These are the puts that I have on deck. Objectively risky. It's very rare that I trade contracts that expire as of the date of recording 1 week from expiration or 1 week from the current date, expire 1 week from the current date. But this looks good. And, if this plays out, that'll be awesome. So I just want to let you guys know, very appealing put position in my mind. If you guys are heavily leveraged in growth stocks right now, this is also a good way to just hedge your bets a little bit. Okay. Small position can potentially go a long way. No promises, not advice. That's just what I'm doing. Okay. Back to Riot. Okay. Riot, as far as where was Riot right here? Okay, so Riot, did I even cover Riot in this one? Riot, okay, right here. Riot, I didn't have my put options in this one. It was in today. Sorry, this was yesterday's. Regardless, my put position or my call options position on Riot is $7.19, $14 call options contracts, okay? $7.19, July 19th expiration. $14 strike price, Riot Platforms. It's been 2 weeks since I recorded a video, you guys. Sorry, this is not going as smoothly as I hoped it would, but hey, we're getting the rust off. We're just getting warmed up again, okay? So let's close it out with Mara, and then we'll call it a day, okay? Marathon Digital, the reason Mara doesn't look quite as good to me from a technical perspective, this actually looks much worse to me from a technical perspective. One, Mara has broken below the line of medium-term resistance on this ascending channel. Okay, this ascending channel has been in place since early April. Mara, just a couple of days ago, broke below this, tried to reclaim it. The bulls tried to take the reins back, but the bears won, and we have closed a day and a week. We have closed a weekly candle, because it's Friday as I'm recording this, below this line of support, securing the reversal of trend. Okay? Again, you guys, I really do think Riot is going to play some catch up with Mara. It's happened pretty much every time in the past, over the past, 5, 6, 7 years I've been trading these two. So I think some catch up is potentially in the works. I'm not saying they find complete parity, but maybe Riot sees $12, maybe Mara sees $15 or something. But I don't think Mara looks good. On top of that, Mara's 1D RSI, you can see here, below its EMA, not nearly oversold, like anywhere near oversold levels just yet. 1D stochastic RSI is about to curl downwards. That's also bearish. And if I'm being completely honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mara especially if we break below this 200-day moving average right here, this again the dark blue line, which is probably going to prove to be some support. If we broke below that, if we break, I'll just say below $17, then I do think it's likely that we test the line of support on this long-term macro megaphone channel, okay? Which, in that case, would take us down, let's just say by the end of the month or June 21st, next Friday, regardless of when you guys are watching this. The line of support on this megaphone channel, you can just draw it for yourself. That's a very, very easy trend line to draw. 13 and a half, $14, depending on when we strike that. Okay, so that's Mara, you guys. I'm sorry for any of you Mara bulls. The best case scenario for Mara, in my opinion, would be just a climb back up to, like if Bitcoin rallies, if Bitcoin does rally, then I could see Mara climbing up, 39, 40% over the next couple of weeks to reach to testing the line of resistance on what would be a reclaimed descending channel. So that could be good, $26, $27 if Bitcoin does continue to rally. But if things get dark, if Riot does reclaim favor, if Mara starts giving up some of these gains that we've seen over the past year or so, then I do think Mara could fall to $13, $14. Okay, so that's the video, you guys. Bullish on Riot. Pretty bearish on Bitcoin and Mara in the short term. I shouldn't say bullish on Riot. I do think Riot holds up better than the likes of Mara, and I do think Bitcoin falls in the short term, but I am still bullish. I'm excited for what the rest of the summer has in store for Bitcoin, for Waves Capital, and feels good to be back. Once again, forgive me for kind of botching this video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm stoked to see you guys next time. Let's have a hot summer, team. And until then, always remember, take action. Make waves. Peace.